I'm Nahana from Smoky Mountain Farmhouse here in Zone 7A, and today we wanted to bring you along as we had a family cleanup day in the high tunnel. We started off by building a trellis for our sweet peas. We used 6.5-foot T-posts spread every 5 feet, and we took some metal fencing that has 2x4-inch squares and secured it to the T-posts using some heavy-duty zip ties. Now that we have the trellis in place, we're going to be direct sowing some sweet peas this week. We'll space them about every 6 inches and do it on both sides of the trellis. After we finished building the trellis, we all got together and picked up tons of rocks. When I planted the ranunculus in the high tunnel, I tossed all the rocks into the pathway. It seems like every time we dig any hole or trench, there is just loads of rocks around here in the soil. So we're just slowly trying to weed them out and get them out of here. So we spent a lot of time clearing the pathways and picking up the rocks that were on the surface of the beds. After we finished picking up all the rocks and clearing the pathways, I used some 4-inch stakes to secure the weed barrier. Initially, when we laid the weed barrier, we used some heavy-duty 8-inch stakes, but we spaced them pretty far apart just to conserve our supplies. And I had the intention of going back through and filling the gaps with the smaller 4-inch stakes just to keep it from blowing up. The other day we had the sides of the greenhouse up and a big windstorm came through, and it did pull up some of the more heavy-duty stakes just because so much air was allowed to get underneath there. So I secured those back down and I went back through and used the smaller stakes, and hopefully that'll be enough to keep them down because the wind here can be pretty severe, but hopefully now they are secured in place.
Here's a big rock. There's a big rock.
Over here.
Okay,
Yeah, Gabriel, let's do 1, 2, 3, 4. How do you feel like that one?
The last thing that we're working on in the high tunnel today is burning holes in the weed barrier side. We are going to have 3 long rows that are 3 foot wide by 70 foot long and 2 foot pathways between. And so we're going to go ahead and finish up burning those holes. To easily burn holes in the weed barrier, we built a template using a scrap piece of metal and a 2-inch hole saw drill bit. We spaced the holes 9 inches apart, and the rows are 1 foot apart so that they can line up with the yellow 1 foot indicators on the weed barrier. To use the template, I lined the last holes that I burned up with the first holes on the template. That way I know that it's perfectly lined up, and I just start burning the holes. The next project we're going to be working on out in the high tunnel is to direct sow some sweet peas and to transplant all of our other cool season annuals that we have growing inside on our grow racks. Now, everything that we're going to be putting out here could have been planted in the fall in our zone, but time did not allow. So we are doing a very early spring planting of them. Now, the benefit of starting them in the fall is we would have already had well-established plants at this time, and they would have been healthy and probably a lot more pest and disease resistant. However, this year we're just going to try to get them in the ground. We hope you enjoyed watching our family cleanup day out in the high tunnel, and stay tuned for when we get everything planted out here. As always, we thank you for watching our small farm grow.